Hi everybody, this is a follow-up to the document that I sent out a couple of weeks ago on how to get a good video for evaluation. And I thought I would take the actual video sample that you guys have been using of the young man whose mother's talking to him, asking him to look up, down, and left and right, and show you the kinds of things that you actually can find out by looking at the video if you know what you're looking for. All right, so I'm going to start this and we'll see how it works.
Zach, can you look up? Look up at the ceiling. Look up at the ceiling. Can you look up at the ceiling, see what's up there?
Okay, I'm going to stop this for a second. Zach's mom has now asked him 3 or 4 times to look up at the ceiling. And the expression on his face says that he's paying attention, but he's struggling a little bit and not much is happening. As an aside to this, if you look at his eyes, if you notice the pupil on the left eye is slightly smaller than the pupil on the right. This kid's got some sort of a brain injury. I don't remember the details anymore, but that's not an uncommon thing to see. It's also not uncommon for somebody to have a congenital anisocoria, which just means pupils are not equal. And so be aware that that isn't necessarily a sign of something horribly wrong with the person either. So back to Zach and looking up at the ceiling. So far he hasn't been able to. And it's difficult to determine, is it because he doesn't understand what his mom's telling him, or is it because he doesn't have the ability to get his eyes to volitionally look up at the normal rate of speed. So let's restart it and see what happens next.
Look up. There you go. Now can you look down at the floor?
Okay, so now he finally looked up. So we still don't know for sure if it's an auditory processing issue in that he's still was trying to sort out mom's directions, or if it's an eye movement issue. So we still have to determine which that is. Okay.
To see what's down there? There you go.
Now if you look at how fast he looked down, it's obvious that the issue is not an auditory processing delay. In other words, he understood what his mom wanted him to do. He just wasn't physically able to pull it off when he was looking up. When he's looking down, he's able to do it. All right, let's start again.
Good. Can you look to your right to see what's over there? Look to your right. There you go. Now look to your left.
Okay, looking to the right, if you notice that he didn't spend much time doing that. If you notice, he didn't get very far to the right. His eyes deviated slightly up and to the right, but they certainly didn't go far to the right as they are now, going far to the left. So you can see a dramatic difference in his ability to look to the right and his ability to look to the left.
Very awesome, Zachary. That's really good. I'm very proud of you. Now I can send this in. I love you.
Okay, so what have we learned about this young man? We've learned that he doesn't have an auditory processing delay. In other words, he understood the directions of what his mom wanted him to do. We know now that he has a hard time directing his eyes to look up and no trouble at all directing his eyes to look down. We know that he has a hard time directing his eyes to the right and not much difficulty at all directing his eyes to the left. So where are you going to start when you're doing an evaluation for somebody like this? Well, you're going to be sure the screen is lower rather than higher. Definitely top of the screen, no more than eye level, because he can look straight ahead and he can look down, but he can't look up. So his screen needs to be here. And the other thing is, because he's better looking to the left, if possible, you want to focus the camera on his left eye and give him the benefit of using the eye that's able to cover the most territory. If that doesn't work, there's not a whole lot of difference in which eye you use, but sometimes it's useful to start with the one that you expect is going to do the best job. Incidentally, if you have somebody who has a disconjugate gaze, as they're looking left and right, you can see that their eyes are deviating, they're not working together. You have a 50% chance of guessing which eye is dominant. So don't expect to be able to look at somebody's eyes and say, oh yeah, it's obvious his left eye is dominant. Could be the other one. It's really, really difficult to sort that out. So those are the kinds of things that you can see in a video. Another thing that Zach did not have that's very common to see in one of these videos is the presence of nystagmus. Nystagmus, if you recall, is a bounce. The eye's bouncing, and it's typically horizontal. You will not see vertical nystagmus. That person is dying and would not be trying an eye gaze system. But you will see horizontal. It can be congenital. It can be from the injury, whatever's happened to that person. And the nystagmus is going to be the worst when they look to the left and to the right. So extremes of eye movement, looking extremely far left and extremely far right, is when you'll see the most bounce. And paying attention to that when it happens, I wish we had a video of it, is important as well, because very often you'll see the eye starts to bounce when it's rotated very far to the extremes, which is not something a user ever has to do running an eye gaze system. So if when I look here my eyes are fine, and when I go out there I start to develop a nystagmus, it doesn't matter, because this is where my eyes are going to be directed. But it's good to know that that exists, because it could be when that person is tired, the bounce starts to move in some, and you'll start to see a little bit of a bounce on the edges of the screen. That's all I can think of for right now that's noticeable in these eye image videos. I saw two today, neither one was useful. So I think that these were people that were asked to send in a video before we got this piece of paper put together that explains how to do it. So please use that piece of paper, because people forget exactly what's expected of them to do in a video without good, solid information. That's it for the eye images. Thanks. Bye.